Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. Can you hear me? There's a little background music here. I'm actually in a hotel lobby. I don't know if you can see, but you can't really see. But behind me is the Horn of Africa. I'm in Tangiers in Morocco at the moment. So yeah, I'm just here in the lobby. You probably can't see, but you can see the ocean. There's an ocean behind me. So it's too bright. Anyway, welcome. Good morning, Solana. Yeah, let's have a look what you're saying. What news? The news is that apparently in Morocco you can smoke indoors. So I'm gonna have a smoke. How crazy is that? They let you smoke indoors here. It's like the only place in the world where I've actually experienced that kind of craziness. Like, it's nowhere else are you allowed to smoke indoors, but here you can smoke indoors in a hotel lobby. Amazing. You'll never smoke. What the fuck? Madness. Madness. They even bring you ashtrays. I'm gonna sit here and have a little smoke. Never thought that was possible again, huh? A little smoke indoors in a hotel lobby. Yeah, I like the boss. There's some good trading these last few days, huh? A lot of longs. Shorts are more interesting, but longs have been relatively easy. Typically when it's easy to long, it's probably going to crash. Typically. It's always the opposite. When it's easy to short, it's usually going to go up. When it's easy to long, it's usually going to go down. Well, I don't think so. So let me just get rid of that. So the first thing to note is let's just have a look at the order flow, because that's important. I'm on the wrong screen. Why am I on the wrong screen? There you go. So there's bearish divergence formed in this range. You can clearly see that the CVD is going up. The price is making lower highs at the moment. You see from this point here, the CVD has gone up and we're actually putting in lower highs. So this is actually quite bearish. It means that longs are entering. You can see the CVD is going up, the OI is going up, but it's being absorbed by some limit sell orders. Some big limit sell orders are absorbing the price here. So there's a little bit of a bearish CVD divergence, so you have to be a little bit careful with longing after the price has been grinding up. So typically, I'm not saying it's always, but typically New York will like to go test the daily open. So possibly we'll get a little kind of push down, possibly with the New York session when it opens. Everything is a balance of probabilities. There's no guarantees in crypto. So I might say something and it won't happen. This is the London session. We're kind of above the session point of control, above the VWAP. Generally, that's considered bullish. Above the Asia session, above the close session. So we've been grinding up. You can see that we've been grinding up. We came into these single prints here. There's another line of single prints here, which we've hit. So we've cleared these single prints from the previous drop here, this Asia drop. And yeah, you see the single prints. We're into the single prints here. So we've just kind of filled these gaps on this big drop here. And you can see that there's a bit of increasing open interest here. Some longs coming in here. Some people have been longing. It's good to see longs, so I'm not saying it's bad to see longs. I like to see longs coming in, but I also would like to see, I don't like bearish CVD because it means that the longs are being absorbed, and that could lead to a drop, so just have to be a little bit careful with longing the highs of this day, which is where we're at. I'll just continue smoking. But let me just go back to Bitcoin and have a look at the range. You see, we've been grinding up. It's hard to long the top of a grind, yeah, because because it could drop. No aggressive shorts, but still longs could get trapped and then it could drop, so we have to be careful of that. Let me just kind of look at the volume, make sure there's no changes on this volume profile. No changes, as you can see, so the volume has been relatively ineffective at changing the volume profile. We've got 2 volume profiles at the moment that I'm looking at, or 3. I'm looking at this range, I'm looking at the overall range, and I'm looking at kind of more of the local range, which is this little one here. This is a bit more of the local range on that high. You can see in the local range, we're at the value area high underneath the range point of control. So it's not really a good place to long. Not a good place to long. That being said, yesterday I didn't stream, but in Discord, I just posted some ideas of what I thought could happen, would happen, should happen, may happen, who knows. Last night, I said bullish CVD, which was good. I'll be longing, building a long. Have to see if this goes up or down first. Looks range bound, which it is. I thought last night, if it goes up first, it's bullish. If it goes down first, it's bearish. And so because we went up first, I actually think it's bullish because we went up first. And so what I was contemplating, and I'll explain. Let me just hide these fixed ranges. Let me just hide this volume profile. So yesterday we had a bearish day, range bound still, came all the way down to Solana saying that there's a lot of people talking that there should be a drop on X. They're not season at the end of this month or March is possible. So everything's possible. So we're in quite a relatively illiquid area here right now. That's why we're getting such big swings. So there was quite a lot of aggressive buying and selling here, which is why we had a relatively tight range, mainly selling, and then the price went up. And now it's a little bit kind of wider. The range is a little bit wider. It's still quite illiquid, and that's why you get such big swings, because of the liquidity. Yesterday's drop, I think, was quite bearish. I think it was quite bearish because we closed. I'll explain why. So on this kind of green candle, I usually look at the 50 fib. And when you get a close underneath the 50 fib of the body, so I'm kind of measuring it from just the body of the previous candle, I consider that to be quite a bearish close, because the reaction isn't strong enough. There's not a strong enough, it's not a bullish enough reaction from the lows of the candle body, which is the daily level in this context. So that being said, it didn't go down, it went up. Okay, so going up for me is a little bit more bullish than going down after a bearish candle, just simply because it's clearing, you know, you're clearing liquidity. You're clearing liquidity from the high of the candles. So when you do get a drop, people start buying, and then when it goes up again, it becomes very illiquid, and then the price can go up really quickly or more aggressively to the upside. Okay, in this circumstance, it would have been nicer to go all the way up to the top there first. That would have been much nicer, and we haven't had that. So it's not as strong as I had hoped. The reaction or the continuation from this down drop isn't as strong as I'd hoped. Doesn't mean we're going down. It just, it's not as aggressively long as I'd hoped. Okay, so we're getting these kind of big drops, red candle drops, and we're stuck. Huh? We're stuck. We're range bound. This is what people need to understand. We're still range bound. We're still stuck. We haven't moved. But if you look at something like ETH, which is really important, and look at yesterday's ETH candle here, it's good to have a look at ETH to see what ETH is. I think ETH's close was actually a lot more bullish than Bitcoin, because again, ETH was able to close above the 50 fib of the previous candle body, and the reaction has been a lot more bullish because we've managed to come a bit higher up the candle, almost to the top of the daily. It would have been nice to tap the daily level, and so until you clear it, until you wash it of liquidity, there's still kind of a strong liquidity area there which can resist the price. But I think ETH's reaction is a bit more bullish than Bitcoin. And then also when you're looking at ETH BTC, you have the same situation. You had a strong close above the 50% mark. I consider that to be quite a strong close, but it doesn't mean that the price can't go down to go up. It's nice when it goes up first. Like here, you can see that ETH BTC has gone to clear the liquidity from the daily level. I like to see that first, because if we pull back now, find some support somewhere down here, have a reaction to go back up, it'll be quite illiquid. And because we've cleared the liquidity, we should be able to push through. So it makes it easier to push through as you get a reaction. So that's why I said it's better to go up first. If you go down first, then when you get a reaction and go up, it becomes a lot harder to go back up. Yeah. So going up first makes it easier to go back up, and it makes it harder to go down. And that's why I said it's more bullish to go up first. And I still think, looking at this price action, looking at this bullish daily on the BTC, looking at this bullish engulfing candle, it's still a strong reversal pattern. And so I'm still quite bullish on ETH BTC. It doesn't mean we're going up right now, but it does kind of give me a clue about the strength. And so when you go back to BTC, the minute we lose daily open, we're going to kind of start flopping to the lows of this previous day. Yeah, so it could get quite bearish. But that doesn't really mean much, because actually they're the good opportunities to buy when it's bearish. And what I've noticed that Solana today has been kind of pumping a little bit. I was in some longs on Solana, and I took profit on Solana and Slurv, just because I started seeing the bearish CVD on Bitcoin, and that kind of makes me a little bit hesitant on altcoins when you start seeing a little bit of bearishness on Bitcoin. It's good to be hesitant, huh? When you start seeing a little bit of bearishness. Just it's to protect yourself, huh? So I think the big question for people is, are we going down? Okay. And again, as always, no one knows. No one really knows. No one really knows whether we're going down or not. Okay. There's no one who can predict the future when it comes to the price. I still think we have a Wyckoff distribution happening, and nothing's changed with regards to the Wyckoff. Just been a little bit more difficult to kind of zigzag out of here. And if we have put in a low there, which would be here, ideally we need to go up and then come down and, you know, do that. We haven't done that yet. Maybe we'll get that this weekend. Hopefully we'll get that this weekend. We'll get quite bullish over the weekend, and then we can have another drop next week of something like that, to just kind of for this to play out. So until it does kind of completely play out, it might still be good to just take profit when you can, and then try and catch the lows when you get the pullbacks. And if we are in a Wyckoff distribution, then it possibly will get quite bullish in March, but it doesn't mean we're going to the moon. It just kind of means that we're still bigger players, the institutional type players are still dumping on the market, and that's what it feels like at the moment. It feels like that. It doesn't feel like alt season is here or bull season is here at the moment. So when it comes to Bitcoin, I mean, I think it's just, we're kind of just range bound a little bit, pretty much. And effectively, when you have range bound price action behavior, you kind of want to sell the highs, buy the lows, sell the highs. Just kind of, you don't really want to be holding on too long to your position. And the biggest question is, are we going down? Well, typically I'll be using the Bollinger to determine the momentum and other moving averages. You can see the 4 hour has gone a little bit flat now, which is good. So you see, after we had this big drop, the 4 hour Bollinger midpoint was trending down, and I think the price action has pretty much flattened out the momentum. But what you notice as you go from every time frame is that it takes time. It takes time to dismantle this bearishness. On every time frame, you see the Bollinger Band, the downtrend has to be flattened out. The momentum has to be flattened out. You can't just assume that we're going up or we're going to bounce up, because that's not what we're experiencing. We're not experiencing any kind of V shape. We're experiencing a massively bearish momentum. And if the price wants to reverse without any kind of snap V-shaped recovery, which we didn't experience on every time fractal, we have to turn this, we have to turn the momentum. Now, if you look at the 12-hour momentum, you can still see that the 12-hour candle is still struggling to get past the midpoint here. Yeah. And lo and behold, this could cause us to go down. Every single fractal, every single time fractal can cause the price to collapse. It's just a reality. Hold on a second. Hi. All right, sorry about that. So you just got to be very careful with these downtrends. Typically, when you get the price come up quickly, you get the reaction fast. When you get this kind of grinding price action, typically the price is actually trying to get back above. Yeah, so I'm not necessarily expecting the price to just go down. But if you start seeing that the price is struggling, then that becomes a signal. That becomes a warning. At the moment, we're not seeing that yet because we've only kind of come back to it again for the first time after we had that drop. And so we just have to see how this plays out. And then the other thing to bear in mind is you see on the daily time frame, we do have this midpoint which hasn't been hit at all since we tapped it on the 3rd of Feb on that pullback. And if for some reason we do just kind of expand up, then the probability is that that will reject. Probability that it will reject again. Okay, now it doesn't just reject, but it looks bullish, but then you have this kind of momentum shift. And so what you want to actually see is you want to see the price come up to these midpoints, these averages, nice and slowly, nice and gently, kind of flip it, slowly flip it, turn it. That's why it kind of feels very volatile and very choppy, because the price is trying to turn all of these moving averages. Any one of these higher time frame moving averages could cause the price to collapse if the price can't get above them. Any single one of them could do that. And the higher you go, the more difficult it becomes. But the good news is that the weekly midpoint here is, we haven't even hit it once. But it's the same situation. Yep, I think the internet's back. Sorry about that. A little, I'm not at home. I'm somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. Internet issues. Apologies. If it disconnects, I'll try and get back on. So I think we're still in for a bit of chop, huh? Chop, 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 chop suey. And just when you're looking at the price action, like I was explaining, any one of these higher time frame moving averages could actually push the price down. A lot of people are not longing or shorting here because it's really the wrong place to long and short. It's more of a kind of scalpy area, scalp, scalp, scalp. And if you are going to long, you kind of have to long the lows. That's really the best place. The lows are the best place to long at the lows. So I think we have to see what happens in New York. Let's just kind of have a look at these higher time frame candles and see what's going on here. So last week we had a very bearish week, but we closed higher. And so naturally it's not a continuation week. And that's why we've kind of stuck this week. We're kind of a little bit stuck because we closed higher than the previous week low. The price has gone back up to test a week high. So we're kind of stuck. We're a little bit stuck here right now. I think what we want to see is a really strong weekly close, huh? As strong as possible, but you just got to be aware that if it's a green candle, then it means the bulls were in control of that week and the bulls have managed to do pretty much nothing. If it's a red week, then actually it means the bears are in control and they've managed to do nothing. So you almost want it to be a red week, almost. It's going to get really bearish if we go down. And then you could go, you could go right back to the lows there for another test. 93,500. 93,500. There's lots of things that could happen, yeah? So let's just have a look. The bearish divergence, I think, is playing out on Bitcoin. You can see we're kind of falling flat. Solana pumped as it always does. It likes to pump before it dumps. Solana is a really good coin to scalp because it pumps and it dumps really, really violently. When it's bullish, it really pumps, and when it's bearish, it really dumps. On Solana, as you can see, kind of range bound. We're coming into the point of control here. Coming into the golden pocket. It's a pretty strong area of resistance right now on Solana, isn't it? It's quite a strong area of resistance here. Golden pocket, point of control of this local range. We've come into this daily level as well. You see that? There's a daily level there. Right there. So we're into really quite strong resistance in Solana right now. See that? So I wouldn't necessarily get bullish on Solana when you're coming into strong resistance there. If anything, this is a kind of a short zone, not a long zone. Once we form a little bit of market structure here, you can have a clean invalidation. But this isn't a strong area to long. It's a better area to take profit or short, definitely to take profit. And the same goes with a lot of coins. I think if you look at a lot of coins, they're coming into resistance. They're coming to the highs. They're good places to take profit. You know, something like SUI, which I've been following. See, it's coming back into the range now. So you're finding strength at the lows and you're kind of getting weakness at the highs. So that's kind of what's happening across the whole of crypto right now. Rather than it kind of trending to go up, it's kind of locked. It's range locked. And so naturally, when you find yourself in some good profit because you made some really good longs, definitely a good idea to take profit. I don't think we're in a situation yet where you can just hold and hope for higher because we're about to pump. Typically, when you get fast moves to the downside, that's when you can pump, because you get the fast move down, you get the fast move up. And so if you see these fast moves coming to the down, not the grindy moves, but the fast ones, those are the ones that you should be looking to long for a pump, for a quick pump. And those are the ones that actually can be quite explosive to take us to higher prices. Until you see that, when you see it's kind of grinding, you have to be very careful with trying to pump the price higher, just simply because that's not pump price action, that's just grind price action. It can go up slowly, but eventually you get exhaustion and then the price tries to come back. So we have to kind of see what's going to go on, happen with the SPX. We have to have a look at the Russell 2000 to see how it opens at New York session today. No one really knows. No one really knows what's going to happen. The reality is we are underneath the point of control. We are coming into a local golden pocket. And on Bitcoin, you do have a daily level, which was created by yesterday's red candle. So we are into a little bit of resistance on ETH and on Bitcoin. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. So you have to be a little bit cautious, especially since we're seeing a little bit of bearish CVD form on the order flow on Exo charts, which is showing us the order flow. You can see that there was a little bit of bearish CVD forming here. Higher highs on the CVD, lower highs on the price, a little bit bearish CVD. Naturally, what you want to see is you want to see the price fall down and then to start seeing some bullish CVD, some bullish absorption before we kind of can contemplate more longs. Typically, New York likes to test daily open. We're coming down now, so this is kind of before the New York open. So we might even lose the daily open, and then that's actually quite good, because if you lose the daily open and then you can reclaim it, then that's actually a sign of strength. Losing a level and then reclaiming a level becomes your entry with a clear invalidation. But at the moment, the price is trying to kind of test the VWAP. We're trying to either hold it or to lose it. It looks kind of shaky at the moment. I can't see any bullish absorption here on the CBD. Can't see it. Yeah. And so that makes me a little bit cautious about the price action. A little bit cautious. So that's kind of Bitcoin. It's not really much to say. It's hard to kind of tell people to long or to short because we are in a bit of a chop zone, and the best long here is still going to be the lows here. The best long. It's the best long. Is it down here? Down here, somewhere down in these lows. The best longs are going to be down there. So people might be longing here thinking, oh, look at this. It's a really nice flag. Let's go up. And it could happen, huh? It could totally happen. But it's hard to know if it will happen, or it's a bit of a coin flip. We've tested this golden pocket from this rise a few times. The last time we tested it was 12 hours ago. It was quite a nice test. There's only so many times you can test the level before it breaks. That being said, you know, it'd be nice if New York goes down to break out. It'd be nice, but again, you've got the same problems. You've got this point of control, daily level. You've got resistance here. You've got support here. You're kind of trapped a little bit. Maybe more chop. I don't know. A lot of people are saying all season is starting today. So maybe the market is actually really bullish. So I'm not necessarily kind of bearish, but I'm cautious. I'm cautious at the highs. I'm more bearish at the highs, the local ranges, than at the lows. I'm more bullish at the lows than I am at the highs. So it's better to just be bullish at the lows, bullish on the drops, and bearish on the rises. It's just better to just have that kind of straightforward mentality and act accordingly. And then when you're looking at all the other tokens, you can see they're pretty much following each other. Cake had a really nice pump these last few days, which I talked about on my stream, and it moved very nicely, huh? After I did my stream, I talked about Cake a couple of days ago. And I think that's really important, because I think a lot of people might be thinking, well, how do I enter? Do I still enter? Look, this is it. 2 days ago, I talked about Cake, and I did that stream. And then 2 days ago, the price of Cake moved 70%. You don't have to catch the lows to catch the move. Yeah, but you do have to take profit because you're going to get people who've increased their value significantly, and they will take profit. And if they take, you better take profit before other people take profit. Otherwise, you're going to be caught in a situation where you haven't taken profit, and then sometimes you can be caught underwater as well because you entered or you came in too late. But you see here on Cake, you've come into the golden pocket, you've rejected swing failure of the local highs. This is a good place to take profit. You can still catch a really nice move. 2 days ago, when I talked about the volume, I said it's really nice, this is looking really good, and we had another 60-70% move. Plenty of opportunity to make a nice safely take profit, make a trade and safely make money. But you have to take profit. You can't make money if you're entering when the setups look nice, the invalidations are relatively easy, then you don't take profit. And so you're obviously coming in much later than coming in here, and so therefore you have to take profit. You can't just sit on your position and expect higher. Now if you're coming down here, you still take profit, but at least then you don't have to close out, whereas now we just have to see where the price finds support. It's just the way it is. Okay, so getting a little bit of a pullback now across crypto. Looks like the bearish divergence is playing out. Even Solana's pulling back now. Even Slurf is pulling back now. So I'd like to see that, what happens at New York session. I'd like to see the price drop, and that's gonna, then we can see where we find support. That's basically it today. I don't really have anything more fascinating to talk about. I think bullish at the highs, bearish at the lows is the right approach. SUI is a good one. Solana's a good one because they pump. They like to pump, and we like pumps. So when you get like these big dips, I think SUI and Solana are the good ones because they really can move quite a lot very quickly because they've got access to a lot of liquidity. And so if you're looking for a token that can move quite fast and quite quickly, then I would say Solana and SUI are the safest ones when it comes to just finding quick recoveries when you get these big dips. That's why I talk about Solana and SUI a lot, because on a higher time frame, the momentum, which is really important, is still not on that moving average, but on certain moving averages, the momentum is still to the upside. On certain, you see here the 3-day SMA 50 moving average is kind of like strong to the upside, and that's going to impact the price action. Whereas when you're looking at some other coins, some other tokens, when you're looking at some kind of typically bullish tokens in the past, let's have a look at FET. Yeah, typically bullish in the past, but in some very disastrous downtrends. Yeah, and that impacts the way the price recovers, because you've got the momentum has been shifting to the downside. Fetch is not a bad one, to be honest with you, but there are some tokens which have some disastrous downtrends, like Injective. Look, you see the moving averages are pointing to the downside. You kind of use those as a gauge to determine whether you're looking at a bullish token or a bearish token. You look at those moving averages, and that can help you determine whether that's a token that you'd like to buy the dip on or not. Because if you're going to buy the dip, you really want to buy the dip on a token which has got a bullish uptrend. Yeah, not flat ones, not down ones, the bullish ones. A lot of people are trying to bottom catch. Good luck. Good luck. It's not a good idea. Okay, I wanted to kind of just have a look at Doge quickly. I like Doge. Doge is looking quite strong, in my opinion. Getting a little bit of a rounding bottom here. After this capitulation drop, with a major swing failure of that pivot. So Doge is also kind of in a higher time frame harmonic, like a Gartley type harmonic. So typically Doge would try and get up to the 50 fib, which it hasn't got yet, which is around 29.5. But I think if the market does try to turn and try to pump, I think Doge is going to pump quite nicely, because again, you've got this upward momentum. I think in this context, a good strong resistance area will be the golden pocket, which will be a back test of the value area low here at around 32 to 33 cents. It's going to be big resistance on the way up, and there's no reason why this can't continue to go down for another test. You know, like just because it looks like it wants to go up, there's no reason it can't do that. You know, there's no reason why the price can't do that. There's no reason why the price can't do that. There's no reason why the price can't do anything. So even though it's starting to look a little bit strong here, because you're rounding, and we're back above that pivot low, which is nice. That just gives you some nice invalidations. But what you want to see on Doge is continuation. So my first kind of thought here on yesterday's red candle is, let's just continue with a nice bullish higher close, bullish engulfing. That's going to continue this kind of mini uptrend. It's not pumping, it's grinding, isn't it? It's grinding, and that's synonymous to a Wyckoff type distribution, where the price grinds, doesn't kind of impulse. That being said, if we get another test here, that would be an amazing entry of that low at 20 cents. That would be a really nice entry for an impulsive move to the upside if we get a reaction from about 20 cents. And so I think that's the same for a lot of these tokens. When you're looking into these tokens, if we get another test of the lows of all of these tokens, yeah, don't think it's going to go down for a test of the lows. That's the wrong way to look at it. So even Bitcoin, if we get another test of 91 here, it's not, don't think it's just going to go down. That's actually a good place for the price to go up. Yeah, so you kind of have to get bullish at the lows, get bullish at the lows, get bearish at the highs. You have to think that way. Don't get bearish at the lows and bullish at the highs. Get bullish at the lows, bearish at the highs. Yeah, you almost have to remind yourself before you take a trade. Am I bullish? Am I bearish? Are we at the highs or at the lows? If you're at the highs and you're bullish, then maybe get bearish. Change your mentality, and vice versa. If you're at the lows, don't get bearish. Try and get bullish. That just prevents you from shorting the lows. If you're bullish, yeah, at the lows, which is not what you want to do. You don't want to short the lows. At the very least, you do nothing and you wait at the very least. At the lows, if you're not going to long, you do nothing. Yeah, but you don't short. It's the same thing with the highs. At the highs, you don't long. At the very least, you do nothing rather than long. But at the highs, you're actually looking to short. You're not, or take profit. You're not looking to long the highs for a breakout, because the probabilities are against you. We're going for higher probability price action. The probability of a breakout through resistance with this kind of price action is low. It's a low probability, and therefore you don't want to take that chance. You won't risk it. It's not worth it. And the minute you get pulled back, you'll be underwater and you'll be thinking to yourself, why didn't I short? Why did I long? Okay, so just bear that in mind. It's always the easiest way is to dollar cost average in and then just take profit when you're in profit. When you're range bound like that, that's probably the best kind of strategy for accumulating wealth. But obviously people are worried about breakdowns, and so naturally the best risk to reward will be at the lows for longs, and shorts will be at the highs. And so that's the kind of mental state that we have to be in when we're kind of trying to look at the charts and trade. Just focus on being bearish at the highs, bullish at the lows. Try not to do anything other than that, and that will save you a lot of hassle, a lot of trouble. You might think you're in a really good position, but if you see that you're in a shed load of profit, take the profit. If you're at the highs, okay, if it continues, you've got a runner, you'll still make money. And if it doesn't, then happy days. You know, you've taken your profit and you were smarter than the rest of the people, the rest of the market. That should give you confidence to do the same thing over and over again, and that's how you will eventually succeed. You can see a lot of tokens are pumping and now they're pulling back. So that's kind of my daily update. I don't really have anything more to say, except I thought going up on Bitcoin initially was more bullish than going down from last night. And now looking at the price action, I would love for it to just kind of go all the way down here again for some kind of whatever, for another pump, test pump. Just looking at this daily price action, be nice to go down all the way down here again, put a higher low on the daily time frame. Be nice to put a higher low here, end up with a nice green candle right back up there today. Be really nice to go all the way down and then come right back up by the end of the day. That's going to get the whole market bullish, and then by the weekend maybe we can have a little pump at the weekend. Weekends are good times for the price to either pump or dump, so it'd be nice to kind of have a really strong close for a nice pumpy weekend. I think we're going to need a strong close for a pumpy weekend, to be honest with you. We don't want a weak close, because if you have a weak close, instead of a pumpy weekend, you can end up with a dumpy weekend. Yeah, so what we want is a really strong New York session to kind of set the direction of the weekend and the rest of the week next week. I'm going to finish up on TRVL. So in the past, I was talking about bullishness, bearishness, the project, the fundamentals, the project itself, different aspects of the project, the team, etc., etc., etc. Unfortunately, I was rewarded with a bearish chart. Yeah, it's just a fact. All of my interest in this token has led me to this path, to this destination, a bearish chart. It is what it is. You know, I can't necessarily complain. It is what it is. Life is life. You know, if you know, you can't complain if life gives you oranges when you wanted apples. It's just the way it is. I wanted apples, I got oranges instead. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop looking at TRVL, because there's still opportunities to buy and sell, and I think I'm going to just focus more on buying and selling rather than the higher time frame hodling. I think in the past I was more focused on higher time frame hodling, and while that may be a sound strategy, the reality is that it may, in a token like this, it may just be better to just buy and sell and trade it rather than just hodl it, just simply because we're still in a very kind of bearish downtrend, and until that trend breaks, there's no reason to think that the trend is not going to continue going down. Yeah, and this is the thing. While I look at this and I think we're range bound, even though it looks like we've lost the lows of the range, at any point in time you could get a failed auction and you're back in the range. It happens a lot in crypto. It's not a big deal. And then you look at it and you go, oh, that was the buy of the lifetime. Well, maybe not, because we're still in a downtrend and the price is putting in lower highs and it's putting in lower lows. Okay, that's just the technical aspect of this chart, is that we're in a downtrend. It's just so that at the moment we're at the bottom of the range. We're at the bottom of the channel, so to speak. Yeah, it's highly unlikely to have a continued breakdown. It's just not likely. It's just not a high probability bet. If you look at the previous all-time low, we're currently 8.5% below the previous all-time low. The risk is actually to the upside. You could get a 240-50% increase to the upside of the range. That's just the volume range. You have the price range as well. Now, you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh my God, this looks terrible. Sell, 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 sell. And you might be right. But the risk is actually, the probability is that this will probably retrace first before we have continuation to the downside. Yeah, that's the probability. And so we've got potentially a really bearish March. Yeah, and so you've invalidated all the bearish divergences formed in this price action. But here you can see on the RSI, there is some bullish divergence. It's been invalidated because we put in a lower low, but there is still, I think what we're experiencing here is panic selling and a low demand for pickup at the lows at the moment because of the way the price has come down aggressively. Yeah, and so naturally, when the prices come down really fast, people are hesitant to just catch those falling knives. That's what's happening. Okay, but it doesn't mean that this isn't a good opportunity to buy. I think what you want to do, if you're looking to buy this, is just wait for some kind of confirmation. My preferred confirmation would be a market structure change. Now, you could potentially start on the lower time frames, and we're not seeing that on the lower time frames yet. So, you know, you haven't even been able to take that lower high, have we? Lower high. So if you can't even take the high of the lower high, then we're not seeing any kind of indication of strength on the charts. And while people are like thinking this could be the bottom, it could be, no one really knows. In this context, what you're really looking for is market structure change. Yeah, once we start getting that, then we're going to get a little bit more aggressive buying, and I think the market will they may not see the market structure change, but the market structure change itself gives an indication of a change in the market. The market is no longer selling, it's buying. So until we see a market structure change, it's very difficult to just buy. And so it's probably better to just be patient and wait until we get some kind of medium time frame market structure change first. But what I have noticed is that we've got a lot of aggressive selling at the lows, and generally that makes me more bullish when you're seeing high volume selling at the lows. Just like when you get high volume buying at the highs, that should make you bearish. High volume selling at the lows should make you bullish. And so I think the more and more I look at this chart, the more bullish I become just by looking at the volume of selling at the lows. And that makes me more bullish, because eventually what will happen, eventually, everything in the market turns and Bitcoin starts to pump. And then all these altcoins, people go, oh my God, I should buy back in. They start market buying, and then suddenly you get this kind of impulsive buy. Okay. But rather than try and catch a falling knife, I think it's just better to just wait for that confirmation on TRVL. I just think it's better. I'm not here to kind of shill this token. Maybe in the past I have, and I apologize if that was not my intention. I think the project has potential, but at the end of the day, your charts are the absolute truth. So if the charts don't lie, the charts don't tell me fibs. The charts are not. You can't pretend that this is bullish when it's not. Yeah, you making all-time lows in a bull market is bearish. Yeah? It's not a reflection of the market, it's a reflection of supply and demand in this project. Yeah, so anyone who says otherwise is an idiot, frankly. Yeah, there just wasn't enough demand at the lows to hold for a higher low. It's really that simple. There was too much supply and the price created a lower high. That's all it means. There's more sellers than buyers at the highs. There's less buyers and sellers at the lows, and so you end up with lower lows and lower highs. And with a chart like this, the problem is that if you can't turn the trend, you continue with this downward momentum. It's hard to turn momentum. It takes time. It takes time, especially when you have bearish market structure, and where you have bearish price action, and where you have bearish sentiment. But it's still that you can't ignore the fact that we're starting to get a little bit of volume at the lows. You can't ignore that. That makes me bullish. So I am looking for a bullish reversal here. And if I do see what I want to see, which is a bullish reversal, I will long. But because the momentum is turning to the downside, or strongly to the downside on all of these time scales, yeah, it'll be a very good opportunity to long and sell, to trade effectively, buy and sell, yeah. And so I am looking for a reversal. I am looking for a lot of this volume to be reversed, but then there'll be a great opportunity to buy and sell into that, to form some kind of bottoming structure somewhere around here. And so my first thoughts are, let's wait for a little bit of market structure change on a 4-hour time frame first. At the moment, we just need to take out this high at around 1.9 cents, put a higher low, higher high, and then we're in a market structure change on a 4-hour time frame, bullish, higher highs, higher lows on the 4-hour time frame. Generally speaking, if that happens, you're going to get a little bit of more kind of bullishness and pumpy, go pump. And then what you'll be looking for is the price to come into some kind of higher time frame level of resistance for a big take profit if you're longing or if you're looking to sell. Okay, so with the current fibs, I don't know if this is the pivot low, because we could go lower, but at the current fibs, when you're looking at the price action, there's like higher time frame fib levels. I don't know if this is the low, to be honest with you. I can't tell, and we may actually go lower. But wherever we put the pivot in, and I think it's important to let the price determine where the pivot lands in this kind of negative price discovery. And then on the retrace, we can look for confluence. And so when I'm looking at this kind of drop here, which one is it? Let's have a look at this drop here. You see the golden pocket was kind of big resistance, although the price did pump through it. And so every time we have a drop, the price tends to get back to the golden pocket. You see there, it's got back to the golden pocket. So let me just kind of indicate that. There's the golden pocket. So as the price drop, this is a big drop. The price managed to get back up to the golden pocket. Okay, so it's important for the pivot to be put in first. So until you see the pivot, it's hard to know where to draw the golden pocket. Here, the price went up to the golden pocket. It went a bit higher, but it does get back to the golden pocket. It has got back to the golden pocket. And this kind of got a little front run of the golden pocket. Okay, so just because it looks bearish, just because the momentum is bearish, wherever we put in a pivot, I am aiming for the golden pocket. Now I don't know if this is the pivot low. It could be lower, but wherever that pivot is, my destination, wherever the pivot is the local golden pocket. I mean, that'll be a really good trade. And I think if people are like a little bit trapped or a little bit underwater and they're thinking, shit, I should have taken profit, I'm just going to dump this now because I think it's going down, I don't think that's the right strategy. I think the best strategy is let the pivot form, give the price time to settle, change market structure. You could add to it with a change in market structure to improve your position, and then swing it to a rise to the golden pocket. I mean, if it was to go to 1.4 cents and bottom out there, and then we had a rise to about 4.5 or 4.6 to the golden pocket in the value area, that would be a perfect trade, to be honest with you. But the confirmation will be some kind of structural change on, at the very least, to begin with, the medium time frame, like the 4-hour time frame, to see when that happened. I think anything before that is a little bit premature. People might be bullish on the project. I don't really care anymore about the project so much, because ultimately there's a lot of small projects which I think by the end of this crypto market, a lot of the small projects, like maybe 90 or 95% of small projects, will probably fail. Yeah, and the success of these small projects is directly related to their final price at the end of the bull market. Yeah, because that's how these small projects survive bear markets. And for this project to survive, it needs to get to all-time highs, because that's how they're going to be able to survive the next bear market. And so you just have to be patient and see what happens. No one really knows what's going to happen, but I think there's been lots of opportunities where people could have traded, and I think, let's just be honest, we're stuck under 9 cents. We're in this range. We haven't gone anywhere for years. Just trade the range. Yeah, just trade the range. There's obviously not enough volume or demand to take the price higher, obviously. And if you pump again, there's no reason to think it's just going to pump, because you're going to get people who are selling to that, and there's just not enough buy liquidity to sustain the pumps. And so what I was initially thinking of is still in play at the moment, and until that changes, I have no idea what's happening. I'm just going to follow that until I see something different. But I kind of changed my ideas a little bit. I thought maybe we're in a kind of higher time frame corrective. You're still expecting some kind of A, B, C type thing. So I am expecting something up to come down. I think it's very bizarre for this to just go down. Yeah. And I think it'd be very bizarre for this to go up too. Yeah. Because we have put in an all-time, and the only way to know is with increasing volume of the price. If I start seeing increasing volume, increasing prices, then I'll have to kind of adjust my analysis. But I am expecting some kind of retrace maybe to the golden pocket, but I don't know, because if it is an ABC, like this was a bit of an ABC here, it didn't get to the golden pocket, did it? It wasn't able to get to the golden pocket. It was only managed to get to the 382. See that? And this one here to this low here, pivot low, couldn't even get to the 382. It got just close, but not close enough. This one also got to the 382. So if we're looking for a corrective move here, just because of the downtrend, let's say we were to go up, maybe this would just go up to the 382 for a kind of a zigzag type price action for continuation to actually bottom out properly, to properly bottom out. That's kind of where I'm at the moment. And obviously if we do get a failed auction, people are going to get really bullish, so it'd be interesting to see how it pumps. Just because of the low liquid, low volume nature of the price action with these tokens, with a little bit of timing with bullish news, you do suddenly get these kind of crazy pumps. And so you don't want to kind of just prematurely exit or sell if you start seeing a little bit of a mad pump, yeah? But effectively what you've got is a little bit of a pumpy dumpy type token, and so just make money, yeah, and just flow with it. When it pumps, sell, and when it dumps, buy. And you know, there's quite good price action. Should you hold for higher? You could hold for higher if you wanted to, but the reality is, it's important to just kind of be realistic. I just don't see us going higher while we're underneath the 12 EMA on the weekly time frame. You see here as the price, the weekly time frame got above the 12 EMA, that's when it started to go up. You see here when it got up to the 12 EMA, that's when it started to really go up. And then the moment we've dropped significantly under the 12 EMA, so probably the next time we come back up to the 12 EMA on the weekly time frame, we'll probably find resistance wherever it is. Yeah, I'm not expecting the price to just go up. Yeah, so these moving averages are very important. You can use whatever moving average you like, but I kind of use a combination of different moving averages and different time frames to indicate areas of direction of price. And in my imagination, the price really has to reclaim and turn kind of like a fast moving average, a fast exponential moving average first. If I see that, then you can change your evaluation of what's happening. You see here, every single time the price was able to reclaim the 12 EMA before you had an uprise, up move. And here you see that, and you kind of wanted this, you know, you kind of, that's basically a precondition for the price to turn. And until that happens, effectively these moving averages becomes real good areas to sell, not to buy, to sell. Okay, and that's really where the price is at right now. And if you see it change, then we can probably change our analysis of TRVL. It may be a good long-term hold if you just buy and just forget about it. But I think, again, the danger with these kind of smaller projects is that they don't do enough in the context of crypto to justify higher prices. And even though technically there is possibility for higher prices and the low liquid, low volume nature allows for that, if the community or the market isn't wanting to take the price higher, then there's nothing you can do about that. There's literally nothing you can do about that. There'd have to be a strategic shift in the market, in the project, to change the sentiment, the community sentiment. At the moment, the sentiment is a little bit kind of concerned about the price. There's nothing else you can say, really. This is just trade it. Just trade it. You can see what's going on. Massive downtrend, bearishness. Next time it pumps, we could good opportunity to sell. You could buy lower. You could start maybe this is what we need to do. We need to just sell, buy lower, and maybe eventually we're going to have to we'll end up with a proper higher low. And maybe that was my mistake, because maybe I should have told people sell, 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 buy, 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 buy. And maybe we could have rounded this bottom rather than just telling people hold for higher, when actually the fundamentals of the project doesn't allow for that kind of price behavior. So I would argue that the best thing to do is trade, and actually there's quite good swings in the price of TRVL to allow people to trade. Okay, and that's kind of where we're at right now until we see this properly bottom out. Until we see it properly bottom out, there's no way to know how far it's going to come to find the bottom. There's no way to know. Against ETH, we've broken down. We haven't had a failed auction. We're breaking down. Against Bitcoin, we're breaking down. We've lost a higher time frame, a multi-year trend line. We're just breaking down. So the reality is that you can't. You're effectively you're catching a falling knife here, effectively. Yeah. So we have to wait for that to turn, and until it does, there's no way to catch that, to be honest. But there are opportunities, and I think initially what you're looking for is some kind of medium time frame market structure change here. Once you get that, then we can kind of confidently start buying to sell higher, So that's what we're looking for. You see this pump, you see a flat correction, you think, okay, maybe this is it, and it wasn't, because someone sold into that. So this is the price action we're getting, a little bit of continued selling, and while people are just seeing the bearishness of the momentum, they're not interested in buying, they're interested in closing their positions. And the problem that these smaller tokens and projects have is that when you have other tokens like Cake, which I identified as bullish, pumps 80% in 2 days, 80%. Yeah, if you would have, if you can sell your tokens in TRVL and you can increase your value by 80% in 2 days, why wouldn't you? Why would you just hold for a market structure change, which could take months, when you can just easily transfer your value to another token, which is actually starting to look bullish? Even like some other tokens like Ava, in the same time that TRVL has gone down, Ava's gone up like 22%. So Ava's going up, TRVL is going down. What you're getting is a capital rotation between people who are transferring their value from more bearish tokens into more bullish tokens, or more liquid tokens, or tokens which have more exposure to higher liquidity and higher volumes. That's what's happening right now. There's no reason to buy TRVL and hold it for higher until we see volume confirm a bottom, I think. Yeah, if you see volume to confirm a bottom, you're not going to catch the absolute low. Yeah, but the thing is, no one knows where the absolute low is going to be. Yeah, and so in all of this price action, the one thing that's been missing from the lows is volume. Yeah, and what we actually want to see is big volume. We want to see big volume come in at the lows. If we see that, that will give us an indication that the low might be in. Yeah, until we see that, it's just a low volume illiquid token which people are buying and selling, selling the pumps and buying the dips, and just trading the volatility of the illiquid nature of this token. That's what's happening at the moment. So we just have to keep an eye on that and see what happens, right? So I'm not here to kind of misdirect people and say, oh, this is bullish, this is bearish. It's clearly bearish, but it doesn't mean that we can't get a nice pump all the way back up to either the 382, wherever, one of these bigger fibs. Maybe the 382 is the right place, to be honest with you. But we have to see, because you have this range, you have the range point of control. A failed auction is actually considered bullish. If you get a little kind of market structure change, you could actually have a really nice pump to the golden pocket. And so naturally the golden pocket will be the best target. We can get there, I think, then we have a chance. We have a chance, because if you get to the golden pocket and people sell into that, then guess where they're going to be buying back in? golden pocket. And maybe that's how we change this. Yeah, maybe that's how we are able to change the higher time frame momentum and market structure and make it bullish. So that's my TRVL update. And whereas before I've been quite happy and quite cheery and quite bullish, I don't think we can't pretend that this is bullish. Doesn't mean you shouldn't buy. Doesn't mean you can't buy. Doesn't mean this can't pump. Yeah, this could easily pump, but the momentum's to the downside, and the next up move will be a sell. It won't be buy to the moon. It's not going to be that. The only way to know if it's that, if you start seeing increasing green volume with increasing prices. That's really important. Yeah. So until you see that, there's no point thinking that that's what's going to happen. Yeah, because any sell is going to be a illiquid sell, and then it's going to cause the price to drop rapidly, and so you have to be careful of that. All right, so that's my daily update. Let's just quickly have a look at markets again. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Little pullback there, ETH pullback there, Solana pullback there. See that? So bearish divergence playing out. SUI, everything is pulling back. Just that kind of bearish divergence that I picked up on has indicated a pullback. Yeah, so definitely a good place. It was a good place to take some profit. If you hadn't taken profit, it was a good place to take profit, not be overexposed at the highs, and just wait for the pullbacks to find the lows again. Some tokens aren't pulling back. Some tokens are still kind of on mini uptrends. I'm just looking at them now on my phone. But ideally, I mean, just looking at, like, for example, SUI, I would argue that you want to catch it at the point of control, but the reality is you kind of want to get at the lows, don't you? Not at the middle of the range, but the lows. It's the same with all of them, really. Like, you might look at Slurf and go, oh, it'd be nice for me to catch it at the point of control. The reality is you don't really want it at the point of control. You really want to buy at the lows, don't you? It's kind of where you want to buy down here, not here. You want to buy it down here. It's the same with Solana. You don't really want to buy it in the middle of the range thinking it's going up. You really want it to dump, and you buy it right back at the lows to take it right back up. So that's kind of where I'm at with all of these tokens at the moment. All right. Happy. Is it Tuesday? Happy Valentine's Day. Friday. Oh my God. It's Friday the 14th. Happy Valentine's Day from Morocco. And I'll be on my Discord. The link is underneath. If I see anything, I'll be posting it there. I'm not on the computer 24/7 right now, but I'd like to see New York dump the price all the way back to the lows. Get everyone bearish for another buy, huh? For another buy opportunity. All right. Take care.